Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Christina.
And I'm Nicole. On our podcast, we delve into the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
That's right, Nicole. Our podcast is all about exploring those fundamental truths and practices that nourish your mind, body, and spirit.
Yes, Christina, we want to make metaphysical concepts easy to understand and accessible, especially for those who don't have a ton of time to do all the research.
Right? We'll do the research as well as share our experiences and perspectives, hoping to empower you, our listener, to find balance and magic in your day-to-day.
Inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root, let's explore the roots of well-being and self-healing together.
This is The Radical with Christina and Nicole, two metaphysical girls in the material world.
Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Christina.
Today we are talking about two springtime holidays, Earth Day and Beltane. I gotta be honest though.
Let's hear it.
I am not a fan of springtime, so these topics had me a little grumpy and uninspired. Just being honest.
I think it was me that suggested this as a topic. And I think I was under the influence of thinking about Taurus and I know I was under the influence of Aries energy. That's when I'm coming up with all these big ideas. All these good ideas are flitting around. But then, as you said, Nicole, when it came to it, I just basically was like doing open source searches on what is Earth Day? What is this? Why did Nicole and why are we talking about this? And it was a little interesting. I learned a lot, and I hope that we can share maybe some new information with these two springtime holidays with you, our listeners. But also, what I think is more important is that I got some good ideas about what I might be doing during this time of year, which I'm going to share at the end of your notes.
And I think I was under the influence of the Wheel of the Year because I am really into that concept and marking these days throughout the year and honoring where we are. This is probably just my least favorite one to honor. And part of it, I think, is where we live. When we're recording this, it's starting to get quite warm. There's a lot of pollen outside that just coats everything. So I think that's playing into the feelings I have right now. And also simultaneously, I'm on a journey of health, of thyroid health. And so I think that's playing into these feelings of being unmotivated and not as like passionate as this season suggests we should be feeling.
Yeah.
So it's sort of interesting to feel like you're not tapped into these feelings. But we do have a lot of notes in segment 1 about Earth Day, and in segment 2 we will talk about Beltane. I used ChatGPT, who came up with a custom ritual for Beltane for me.
Really?
And I did get out my Love Your Inner Goddess Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild because I needed a lot of inspiration from the goddesses for this one. And let me tell you, 4 cards flew out of this deck. So we'll do 3 at the end and 1 in between segment 1 and segment 2. So we'll infuse this episode with the passion and the wisdom from the goddesses.
I like it. Well, I'm going to start on my list. The
Perfect.
history of Earth Day. Now, the idea for Earth Day came from Senator Gaylord Nelson of Wisconsin, who was inspired by student anti-war protests and movement, and he was aiming to bring environmental issues into the national spotlight. And this was in 1970, so not that long ago. Nelson, along with activist Dennis Hayes, organized the first Earth Day on April 22nd, 1970, as a national teach-in on the Environment Day. The date was chosen to coincide with the end of spring break before final exams. So this was very much a student academic type of thing. This was a national teach-in where the students in elementary school and high schools and higher levels of education would do something special on this day. And the first Earth Day, on the 22nd of April in 1970, about 20 million Americans, which is 10% of the nation's population at that time, participated in rallies, teach-ins, and other events across the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah, bringing awareness to pollution, the dangers of pesticides, oil spill damage, loss of wilderness, extinction of wildlife. And this was in 1970. I'm sure stuff like this happened before then and continues to happen after that. But I still hear about Earth Day. And I don't, or maybe Arbor Day. I got a tree when I was in elementary school at Arbor Day.
I remember Arbor Day.
Yeah. So some of these still hang around, but Earth Day, I think, is still definitely part of our modern conversation. The first Earth Day was a resounding success, leading to the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and the passage of key environmental laws like the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act. The growth and evolution of Earth Day gained international recognition, with events being held in other countries. So in 1990, Hayes organized a global Earth Day, which was observed by some 200 million people in more than 140 countries. That was in 1990. I just needed to do like an open source search about what was going on around me in this upcoming Earth Day. Earth Day today continues to play a crucial role in raising public awareness about environmental issues and advocating for environmental protection. This, again, with the EPA, environmental regulations and policies, and has inspired countless individuals and organizations to work towards a more sustainable future. I love all that information.
Yeah.
So for Earth Day 2025, it has a theme.
Ooh,
Our power, our planet.
I like it.
Focusing on crucial role of renewable energy in combating climate change and securing a sustainable future. So that is the 2025 theme. And if we don't have kids who are in school, or if we're not involved in academic type world, I think Earth Day could come and go and you might not even be aware of it. Do you know what I mean? It's not really like a national holiday or anything. It gets some traction. The way that we read and hear the news has changed significantly over the past couple of years. So depending on what your news outlet focuses on, you may or may not even be aware of what's going on Earth Day in your area. So maybe this podcast will inspire you to do a little search, find out what's going on. And there can be rallies and organized cleanups and different things going on in your communities, but you can also do just something for yourself. You can focus on highlighting the importance of renewable energy sources in your home. maybe kind of breaking out of your comfort zone with saving energy, teaching your family about turning the lights off, or any kind of things that we used to focus on when we were like, what our parents used to do to us about turning off the lights and putting on a sweater and keeping the doors closed, and how you can do little things around your home to become aware of how to be more energy efficient, change your
And water.
filters.
Yeah. And efficient with how we use water.
Mm-hmm.
I learned something recently. I don't know if you know this, Christina, but new dishwashers are actually extremely water efficient. They use only like 4 gallons of water.
Hmm.
So it's way more efficient to use your dishwasher, even if it's like half full, than it is to hand wash.
No, I think I saw or I read something on that.
I saw it at first. I think it was a Cascade commercial or one of the laundry soap.
Mm-hmm.
They had a commercial, and I was like, is this propaganda or is it true? And it's true.
No better time to research this stuff than around April 22nd, Earth Day. So if you have a dishwasher and you use it or you don't use it, or the way that you are um, washing your, like cleaning your dishes in your home, maybe it's a moment to reevaluate.
Yeah, like
Is there a
fact
more
check
efficient way
yourself
to, right? Right? Fact check yourself.
because I thought surely that was a myth or a piece of, just a
Mm-hmm.
sales tactic. I was like, what's the fine print here? Who did this study? Who funded this study? What's going on? But it's true.
There we are. I mean, you're celebrating Earth Day or marking Earth Day. You don't have to replace any appliances in your home, but you could. You know what I mean? You could.
You
If
could.
that was part of your big push or movement in the next couple years to make your home more efficient.
Yeah. Or becoming educated on the appliances you do have.
Mhm. Mhm. Because sometimes things just need a little cleaning. You might need to switch to a different detergent to find out what works best for your dishwasher or your home. So just kind of spending some time thinking about that. But that's interesting. Yeah, so it's sustainability and conservation and alternate power. Another thing you could do is to clean up your area. But like in your community, you can volunteer. You could organize a litter pickup in your neighborhood or your park or your waterway or your downtown, somebody might have already done it, or maybe you're the one who does it for your area. But it doesn't have to be any more than, I mean, before we hit record, Nicole and I were chatting, and I was like, I don't know if I have anything to do this Earth Day, even after I did all this research. But I do walk my little dog all the time, and I should have a bag and I should do a litter pickup for that period of time, like on that day or that week or whatever. And just that week is the week that I'm going to pick up trash all around our walking routes through our neighborhood and through the areas all around us.
I've done
Because
that
there's
before.
because there's trash out there,
Yeah.
listeners. There's trash right on my street, and yes, it could be because of trash day, and trash just gets strewn about, innocently by the garbage people who come to like pick up our trash. But also, people litter. They do.
I was
So,
doing that one time, picking up trash while I was walking, and guess what I found?
hmm.
A $10 bill.
I love it. Instant karma.
Yeah, I was like,
Do
cool.
something good. Universe is like, here you go. Here you
Yeah,
go.
got a little tip.
I love that. So that is one thing. pick up trash. You could plant things, plant native trees, native flowers. You could clean up areas that have become overrun with weeds in your area, or you could get permission from community areas to do this if you're a gardener, or if you just are like, this little area right here on the corner of my street, I just want to get in there and just rip out these weeds and make it easier for me to see around the corner or something like that. But you could do a project like that. And then, as always, support local businesses. If you are going to buy some gardening equipment, go to your local gardening store or your local gardening center, or start small, and then go up from there. If you're looking for a new gardening gloves, maybe your little place down the street has gardening gloves. You don't have to go to the big box store right away to get stuff like that. But all of that could be a way that you mark Earth Day, or this time of year, from Earth Day to the 1st of May Day, Beltane. Just really thinking about this planet that we live on. This is our home. This is the only one we have.
This just popped into my mind, but I was listening to my favorite astrologer, Pam Gregory, and they are discovering, I want to say it's some kind of like microbe that thrives on eating plastic.
Oh,
And
please
I
let that be
think,
true.
yeah, and I think in the ocean. And there's like maybe some kind of microbe that's eating all the plastic. So that's really encouraging.
I have all my fingers crossed that that is true. I got
I
them all
know.
crossed. Please let that be
I
true.
know.
Come on, science. Give us a win on this one with plastic eating microbes.
I know.
But you could also go for a walk with your family, your friends, your community, your pets. Instead of going for a drive, go outside. Instead of driving to a restaurant, drive to a park and walk around and eat outside. Or hopefully the weather, regardless of what the weather is, spend some time being aware of the planet on Earth Day, and however that works for you. I did some research for recycling. So recycling has been a challenge for me and where I personally live in this country and my local community, that I wasn't happy with the options I had, and I had to go out on a tangent, and I take my recycling to a recycling center now. I separate it, I box it up, and then I drive it lovingly to a recycling center. I have found that that is the option that I am the most comfortable with, and that I want to happen with my recycling. So maybe that is one step that you listeners can do, is that if you're not happy with the service that your community provides, or where you live, or whatever, that you kind of, get it set up that you find out what you want to do with your recycling. And sometimes for me, it's about a 15-minute drive, maybe 20-minute drive, to take my recycling to somewhere where I want it to go, where I feel comfortable that it's happening, that it is being recycled.
Right. I've lived so many places where people have told me, even though there's a separate bin and it seems like they're picking up your recycling separately, that once the trucks get back to the dump, it's all getting mixed together and no recycling is actually taking place, which is so frustrating because a lot of people pay extra for recycling.
Yes. And that was what my community did. But I wanted to know more, and I took it upon myself to find out more and to move into an option that I'm comfortable with. And that's what I'm suggesting, is find out what you're comfortable with doing with your recycling. but we as inhabitants on this planet need to figure it out with
It's
waste
so
management and recycling.
it's so disappointing because while I was in Vancouver, I saw it's possible. Good
Yeah.
recycling is possible. And it really wasn't a greater effort on my part. It was a little more sorting than I'm used to, but that was no big deal. And then the trash area had all the bins labeled what goes in which bin. So they're doing it
Yeah.
on a large scale. This is possible,
Yeah.
but we won't
I know.
open
I
that
know.
can of worms, but I
Every
know there's a
yeah.
recycling center near me, and so
Yeah.
that is something I can step into, right? I can start with cans, I can start with plastics and
I know. We
and
have
take it
to
into my own hands.
yeah. We have to do our research and we have to do what we're comfortable with, what we can do. And even if it is just can collecting for charities, have you seen that where because metal can be sold back, almost all metal. Anyway, there's options out there. Sometimes they are not the clearest options or you have to really dig to find some answers, but I believe that it was worth it to me to do my research and to find a place where I was comfortable with actually getting my recycling into a recycling center. And I hope they recycle.
I know, right?
Recycle.
Do all this
Where
work. I
I
mean,
know where I live in the United States,
it's not a given.
it's not a given. Let's put it that way. And you know what? And then let's close that chapter. Okay. So also daily, the other thing that leading up to Earth Day is if you are wanting to make a change with sustainability and you want to do your metal straw or your reusable bags or your I have a plastic it's plastic and I already own it, so I'm not going to throw it away. But I bought it a long time ago, like a travel spoon, and I take that thing with me everywhere. It's always in my bag. Maybe this year is the year that you start that you make an effort to bring in that metal straw, to bring in your reusable spoon. And I just thought I need to put some of my cloth napkins in
Mm,
my car and in my bag for just the same thing. That maybe this is the year that you do it, that you organize your stuff, pack your bag, and have that stuff in there ready to go. Because every single straw you don't use makes a huge difference in the culmination of the amount of plastic straws being thrown away on a daily basis.
for sure.
So it
For
makes a
sure.
difference. Just like every dollar makes a difference, every straw makes a difference. So maybe this is the Earth Day. This is the energy of this year that you use to start that habit. But it's hard. I mean, I forget all the time, but it's definitely easier now that I have everything I need right where I can see it and right where I can grab it. And sometimes that's the first step is having it
Yes,
available to you. Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And on that note, our first message from the universe today,
Yes.
our first goddess, Earth Goddess. And no, I did not search this deck to find her.
That's
It was
perfect.
the first card that jumped out. And so I thought that was pretty magical. I was like, wow. I asked for the universe to help inspire me, and boom, there was Earth Goddess. So I'm going to read her message. To live the dream, we have to surrender the fantasy. This can be painful. It feels like the end when in fact it is the beginning. Once the pain passes, there is the joy of what we have yearned for coming to life. It may not be as perfect as the fantasy, but it will be real and it can nourish us. We can build our appetite for life with dreams, but we cannot be fed by them. The soul requires real life experience to become fully alive, to have experiences and grow. There's a fantasy that wants to become reality for you. Don't let a few gritty moments or human imperfections prevent you from experiencing the joy of heaven on earth. Sacred ritual. Lie on the earth if you can, or rest somewhere that feels right for you. Imagine, feel, visualize, or pretend that the earth energy is rising up through your feet, into your belly, and then up to your heart. She is giving you a Shakti pat, a boost of divine feminine energy from the great goddess to help you feel confident in your own power.
She's giving you a Shakti pat, like a
Yes,
pat on your back.
yes.
Oh my
Or like a Shakti hug,
God.
maybe. Yeah. Instead of like a love tap. Have you heard that? A love
Yes.
tap?
Yes. Yes. A Shakti pat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. That's perfect, Earth Goddess.
Perfect. So we'll transition to talking about Beltane. This occurs on May 1st this year, the peak of spring and in the middle of Taurus season. And Beltane falls between Ostara, the spring equinox, and Letha, the summer solstice. Do you have any fun other tidbits about Beltane?
I did look up, you know, I said the phrase Mayday,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe a lot of people with strong connections to European ancestry. And I was like, what, how are they related? And May Day is essentially the secularization of Beltane. So it
Ah,
is, it's the same thing. It was just, it turned it into like a spring festival without the Gaelic and the spirituality and the ancestry of it, which is fine. I mean, but it's very, very popular in Europe to have May Day celebrations. And I wanted to know if it was, you know, most things are connected in some way. But
yeah.
yeah, that's it. It's exactly that. They took out some of the the ancient spirituality out of it and then turned it into a big bonfire and dancing and flowers and May Queen and all that stuff.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I saw a couple of themes, and the first theme that I came across really stuck out to me because the idea of fire and purification came up for me recently in a tarot reading. And I
Mm.
like wrote about fire as purification in my journal. So I was like, oh, okay. Traditionally during Beltane fire festivals, cattle were driven between two fires for protection and purification. And I kind of wanted to know more about fire and this idea of purification and why the two are connected. And I knew this next little bit before modern sanitation, fire was used to clean wounds, purify water, and burn away disease. This tangible ability to cleanse made it a natural metaphor for spiritual purification. So we kind of made this leap from our physical world to the spiritual world. And in Buddhism, for example, fire ceremonies help release attachments and purify karma. In shamanic traditions, burning herbs like sage or palo santo is used to clear energy. And then the phoenix. I've heard about this kind of myth about the phoenix that lives for hundreds of years, then builds its own funeral pyre and sets itself on fire. and then it rises from the ashes, new, reborn, and purified. And that, I think, in our yoga communities came up a lot as kind of a theme when your
Mm-hmm.
life is kind of like on fire and everything burns to the ground, metaphorically, where the phoenix rising from the ashes of a tragedy or despair or an unfortunate situation. So that fits in nicely.
We also come from, Nicole and I come from a hot yoga background, heated yoga and heated vinyasa classes. And one of my first hot yoga teachers talked about the heat of the practice burning away,
Mm,
being that fire that burnt away and released what was no longer serving you, what you needed to let go of. And if any of our listeners out there have taken a heated class of any style, that there is this, sometimes at the end of that class you feel like you have been through it, and that could be a burning away of stuff, right? When you're ready to let it go. That makes me, whenever I think of the phoenix, I think of, and I'm trying to remember exactly how the teacher phrased it, but it does stick out in my head. The heat of that. And here's the other thing too, listeners, the room that you practice your yoga in doesn't have to be heated, because you build your internal heat as well. So your
mm-hmm.
internal heat of practice, your internal heated breath of practice also is a fire. It doesn't have to be a heated room.
Yeah.
Let me just say that.
There is a
But
breathwork practice called Breath of Fire.
yes, Kundalini
Mm-hmm.
101, breath of fire. And
Mm-hmm.
that will burn. Yes. I love, anyway. So as a like I love that is maybe how I mostly relate to letting go of stuff, is burning it away. That imagery works for me. And as a gardener, I have like a yard that needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of caretaking. Oh my gosh. That I made my husband get me an actual burn barrel, not a burn pit. I have a barrel in my yard for my yard waste, and I will build a pile of tree limbs, pine cones, sticks, weeds, all the things that I pick up all over my yard. And around this time of year, springtime, because it rains a lot and everything has to dry out pretty well, but it can't be too dry. So right around the 1st of May, and if I can do it on Beltane, I'll do it. I'll light up that burn barrel. But there is something so cleansing about burning all of that stuff, all of that yard stuff from last year, to see that pile go away, to burn it. The smoke goes out. We're putting all the pine cones in there, all the tree limbs in there, all the old tomato plants, all the old things that we're, no longer need as part of our yard. And then um getting ready for the next year. It's the new year. And then the yard, and then it's all cleaned up, and then it's ready for the summer. It's ready for that next season. That is so pleasing to me, to do a proper fire like that. But I love campfires and bonfires, fireplaces, the smell, the process of feeding the fire, and then it turns into like like it's like alive. You have a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with the fire. It's an element, it's an entity, it's an energy. And then just staring at those flames. Do you ever get into a trance? I just read or listened to something. It was either a podcast or I read an article about a type of candle gazing meditation. Have you heard of this?
I
It's
have.
it's relaxing and releasing, and it's the trot, or the trot. Every time I have a new word, the the Tratak Kriya in the Kundalini tradition, and it's called the Trataka candle meditation. And that's Trataka. You can find it. Just search for it. But you gaze at the candle, and it's good for your third eye. It's good for your pineal gland, relaxation. At the end of the day, it's a way to clear your mind before bed. But I recently read about that because I think, as some part of human nature, like, you get people around a campfire and suddenly it gets really quiet and everybody's just staring at the flames.
There's something about fire, and it has an effect on our brainwaves.
Mm-hmm. It's real.
And it's almost like an evolutionary
Mm-hmm.
effect,
Yeah.
you know?
We
Because our
get lost in it.
ancestors felt that.
Yeah.
Yes.
We get
Yeah.
lost in it. It was what humans watched before there was any other thing to watch. Build a fire
Mm-hmm.
and stare at it and sing around it. And oh, it's so ancient and like primitive, and I mean, we could go out and build a campfire and suddenly, there's no time or space between us and our ancestors. It's what they did. It's a way for us to connect deeply to a part of our soul and a part of our brain that is ancient and connected. But anyway, love the fire. And so if that's what Beltane, if that's what May Day means to you, even if it is a candle in your house, right? But this meditation, I have a lot of flameless candles in my house. I wonder if it'll work with a flameless candle.
Honestly, the one that you gave me, it flickers, like it has that it bends the light, like it mimics
Mm-hmm.
a fire, and honestly, I feel like it does work. That is my opinion.
There's only one way to find out, listeners, and this is by doing 30 days regular candle, 30 days flameless candle, journal, and compare. That's how I'll find that out. More on that to come.
So, a couple more themes: fertility and passion, sacred union. We see this in nature with animals mating, the flowers blooming, and also in the spiritual realm. So, sacred union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, abundance, vitality, and stepping into action. And then ways to celebrate. Of course, the bonfires, like Christina mentioned, but it's a good time to set intentions centered on the themes of passion, abundance, vitality, and taking action. And I do have in my notes light a fire or candles to honor the energy of transformation and alchemy. And then I wrote in parentheses, probably for me, just a candle because it's going to be hot enough outside here by that time. So, one candle for me,
And you can do that
probably.
flameless candle too. So no heat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or imagine a fire. I know in some areas, you can't, there's, restrictions
Mm-hmm.
with burning
Mm-hmm.
outside. So if fire is involved, do everything safely and according to your local
Yes.
regulations. Flower crowns.
Mm.
I would absolutely wear a flower crown around. Spend time in nature. I feel like spend time in nature is relevant for all holidays and for all things.
Mm-hmm.
But around this time of year, you can make this a little bit more different and special by seeing if you can actually feel like the vitality and the life force energy around you when everything is kind of buzzing with life. Seeing if you can tap into that and feel that. And then the last one was honor love. And at first, I kind of cringed. I was like, I don't want to honor love. Ew. But upon further research, and I think this is because like I'm still a little bit like relationship adverse,
Mm.
but we can create a love altar. We can write love letters to ourselves or work with the different goddesses of love like Kuan Yin, Aphrodite, or Venus. And I really loved the idea of making a love altar and placing offerings for these love goddesses on my altar, and also writing a love letter to myself and putting that on my altar as well.
Now that we did the Taurus episode where I said from now on, the Taurus to me is now a female cow, an auric, a female auric.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the energy has shifted in my head about the springtime energy and about the Taurus energy and about Venus energy during that time. It came together clear to me once I took that bull. Oh, I put the bull over here and then I focused on the cow.
Yes.
That, and like, this is a good time for that self love, self improvement, self empowerment. And after hearing your notes there about a love altar, I need to do, or I want to do, an intention bowl for my self improvement, for my, well, I'll say my self love. And I have a shell that I got recently from the ocean, and it's big enough that I can put stuff in it. And I'm like, I've got the shell, which is tied to Venus, which
Yeah.
totally works with this. But I've been on this weight loss journey and I'm moving into the next phase. And I'm not 100% clear on what or how I'm going to do this next phase. So I need to write a letter to myself, and then I need to organize and put items into this bowl that represent what I want. And I need to be clear about what I want to manifest and what kind of intentions I want. And I essentially need to learn how to maintain a weight. I've never been at a point in my life where I've maintained. My 20s and my 30s, I was in the military, and you're always trying to go faster, be stronger, be more lean. You're never just happy with where you are. And then I retire, and I was in the hot yoga world, which was wonderful and lovely. But then I'm trying to figure out how to eat to maintain my energy levels, how to lose the weight that was steadily creeping on as I got older. So this territory of being in a healthy place, how do I sit with that? How do I allow myself, or how do I maintain that? And it to me, it's a new concept. It's a very interesting concept. And I want to do my little shell bowl. And maybe this is the perfect time of year to do it at Beltane with the help of that energy, that self love, to put that together and do that. Because what a better time. Honoring ourselves, honoring our bodies, that's a reflection of honoring the earth, honoring source. Our souls live here in our bodies on this planet. The divine lives here.
Yeah, that's such a good message for me
Yeah.
too, because if you feel like me, a little agitated in the heat, or that your energy isn't quite lining up with what's being offered by the season and these holidays, I think it comes back to, okay, maybe the way we celebrate and honor the season is our love altar and
Mm-hmm.
honoring ourselves exactly where we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Write that letter. What do we want? What do we don't want? I mean, you can't get more pentacles than this. You can't get
Mhm.
more earthy than this, more Taurus than this.
Yeah.
And this is that at the Sabbath, at Beltane, at this cross quarter day, is when that energy is just like, here, here, I'm here to help you. Take some energy. The
Yeah.
earth is just like is like abundant and ready to give us the assistance we need, the assist.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna do. At some point this spring, I'm gonna bring this thought process into a material thing. because right now it's in my head.
Yeah.
But that makes sense to me now. And I wouldn't have thought that the spring or Taurus season was the time to do that. But now I'm kind of like feeling it is the time, because I don't connect to the fertility and the passion part of spring anymore. I'm in a different phase of my life. But self-love,
Right.
that's a little
Mm-hmm.
that's something new, right? That's
Yeah. I really like the love altar and
Mhm.
the self acceptance that goes hand in hand with that. And I do feel a little less uninspired and grumpy. I'm looking at, I think, where I'm going to build my love altar.
Ah. And I have my shell. It's right there. There's some other things inside of it, but it's on my bookcase. And doing anything with witchcraft or doing anything with earth-based spirituality with that intention, you just look up how to make an intention bowl, listeners, if you're kind of interested in what I'm talking about. And the vessel, what you put inside of it, representing the elements that you're trying to bring together. And you could do this at a Sabbath, you could do it at certain phases of the moon, days of the week, whatever it is that you're focusing on. But it's a way to put your intentions into something tangible that you can connect with and meditate on and recharge.
I,
It's just like an altar. It's like something you put on your altar.
yeah.
Or it can be an altar in itself, just that bowl
Mm-hmm.
or that shell or that plate or that whatever, whatever corner of the in the house you have that you can put something together to represent what you're trying to manifest.
I have so many ideas now. So I'm actually
Oh,
looking forward to this.
yes.
I'm really glad.
Yeah.
I do have
This is how it happens. This is how it happens. We're kind of like in this headspace, and then we start talking, and then that
the energy shifts.
mhm.
Well, I have even more inspiration here in front of me. Three more goddesses want to come forward with their messages for us. And I have three more cards. So choose A, B, or C. And I'll start with A, Moonchild.
Those cards are so pretty.
You have an opportunity to manifest something that you want very much. The divine wants to bless you with assistance to bring a cherished dream to life. Begin by admitting the true desires of your heart. Then you will need to let go of control as you trust enough to let it happen. You'll know when you are really doing this because you'll feel scared at first. You'll wonder if it's okay to surrender quite so much. And it is. Ask for what you want and need without any shame, guilt, or hesitation. Then relax and allow the universe to do its thing. Find a place where you can have some privacy and some quiet time. This is the sacred ritual. Place one hand on your heart, talk aloud to the universe about what's happening for you and where you need some help. Imagine, feel, or pretend that the universe is listening to every word and even knows what you are going to say before you say it. As you speak, the universe is instantly responding with healing change, setting the right things in motion to help guide you from your heart to the most beautiful solutions. Card B, Elk Medicine Woman.
Hmm.
There are certain things that are meant to happen at particular times. This is the work of destiny. No matter how much pressure there is from the outside world or from your own expectations, there is an order of events and divine timing in place so that what is meant to be shall be. Balance your active pursuit of your dreams and ambitions with patience and trust in the right timing of things. You are given a message that you are capable of great accomplishment this lifetime. Rather than fighting against life, Trust that it is working with you and for you. Do what is in your power to do, but pace yourself with trust and surrender too. Sacred ritual, place the backs of your hands on the top of your head with your fingers extending upwards in a slightly curved shape. These are your symbolic soul antlers. They draw in divine transmissions of guidance, blessings, energy, and instruction. Imagine, visualize, feel, or pretend that you can suction all of that spiritual goodness into your soul antlers, then move your hands down to relax on your heart. And our last one is card C, Creatrix. Your soul is a divine creative fire. She wants to break free from what has been, and give life to something new. You may experience this as feelings of restlessness, of being confined, or as craving for something more that you cannot quite articulate. Your soul does not want to punish you. Your soul does not want, that was like a Freudian slip. Your soul doesn't want to push that new life away. She wants you to embrace it. When you let go your inhibitions and freely express yourself, stagnant situations will be cleared out by the powerful release of your energy, which creates openness. Let your inner artist out to play in whatever way feels fun, raw, and honest for you. It's time for you to experience something new. Sacred ritual. Do at least 3 things today that you wouldn't normally do. That could be walking backwards for a few moments, mixing up your routine, or trying a new exercise or way of sitting. It could be approaching your art or your work in a way that feels more expressive of your soul. Enjoy the liberation of breaking out of patterns, for you are taking a step towards the creative emergence of something new.
Beautiful. Thank you, goddesses.
Thank you, goddesses. Those were very illuminating. And
Yes.
I'm going to take some pieces from those messages from the goddesses and include them in my plans for Beltane that I didn't have before, but I do now.
Well, if you think about any altar or intention bowl or corner of your home where you are putting together things that you want to draw energy from or be reminded of something, it could seem like a lot, but essentially you shouldn't have to buy anything. It should be stuff that you already have around your house, already you have in your home that represents what you're trying to focus on. And if you're not sure, you could just go with the 4 elements: something to represent water, something to represent air, something to represent the earth, and something to represent which one did I forget? Fire. But it just has to it can just represent those. And you could have something that represents you, spirit. Have you heard of that element? That something of yours to put in your altar or in your area that is like a lock of hair or a article of clothing or representation of yourself, and
I
that's the
haven't.
spirit element.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. Well, I am taking a witchcraft a kitchen witchcraft course, and it is fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm just vibing with all the helpful things she's saying about making your home energetically more pleasing to you and how to focus your intentions and wonderful stuff. But that was new to me. So now I'm like, what represents me in this corner or on this shelf or on my altar? And do I need a representation of me? Now, what we were just talking about, the self love, I think there needs to be a little bit of us in it, right?
Yeah. The love letter to yourself could
Yeah.
represent
Yes.
you.
Your
Yeah.
handwriting, your message.
Well, next week
What
we
are we
are
talking about?
talking about the title. The working title is May the 4th Be With You. I
We
can't
have
believe we're already on this episode. I feel like it was months
so
ago
long
that we
ago.
planned this, but I love Star Wars.
Me
Christina loves
too.
Star Wars. So we thought, let's do an episode about the hero's journey and archetypes because those ideas show up so much in astrology and in tarot. So
Mm-hmm.
we are dedicating an entire episode next week to talking about these concepts.
I feel like it's echoed. I just talked about the fool's journey, the hero's journey. But then when we just were talking about the astrological houses, I was like, there's an element of us growing and expanding in the houses as well. Starting with
Mm-hmm.
the self at 1 and ending with 12, which is what, sacrifice, letting go.
I ended up naming that episode, which has been released by the time this one's released, but A Hero's Journey Through Astrology, the 12 Houses.
Yes. Yes.
So that will be next week. And until then, happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day. Happy Beltane. Happy May Day.
And we love you. Be good to
Happy
each other.
Happy spring.
Yes. And we'll chat next week. Thank you, listeners.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Radical. The Radical is written and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Listener questions can be emailed to us at theradicalpodnc@gmail.com.
Our Instagram is The Radical Pod.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music.